Hi guys, this is Sadek from Droidwin.com, and in this video, we'll show you how to flash the Xiaomi EU ROM onto your Redmi, Poco and Xiaomi phones. So there exist two methods to flash a ROM. If your phone supports a hybrid ROM, then you could use either the recovery mode or the fastboot mode. In other words, for hybrid support, you could use both these methods. However, if your phone only supports the recovery ROM, then you could only use the recovery method. Now regarding how to check whether your phone supports either the hybrid ROM or the recovery ROM, you could refer to this image I have attached in my guide, and from here you could check out if under the ROM type if it's hybrid or recovery. If it's hybrid, then it means that it supports both the fastboot and the recovery method, and you could use either of the two methods. On the other hand, if your phone is just a recovery, then you could only use the recovery method to flash the ROM. In my case, I'm using a Poco F4, so I could use both the recovery and fastboot method. So let me show you. The code name is Munch, and here's the Poco F4, and it's a hybrid ROM. So I will show you both the methods of flashing the Xiaomi EU ROM, that is the fastboot and the recovery method. But before starting, please take a backup of all the data on your phone. Once that is done, let's get started. First off, I'll show you how to flash the Xiaomi EU ROM using the recovery. This is applicable across both the phones which are hybrid as well as which supports recovery. So on that note, let's get started. First off, you'll have to install Android SDK platform tools. This is the official ADB binary given by Google and is required to execute ADB command. So download it from the link given in my guide and extract it onto your PC. In my case, I've done the extraction in E drive. You can extract them anywhere you want. Once that is done, you'll have to now enable USB debugging and OEM unlocking. USB debugging is required to execute ADB command, whereas OEM unlocking is required to unlock the bootloader on your phone. So let's now carry out both this task. For that, go to the settings menu, then go to about phone and tap on MIUI version 7 times. You will get a prompt that you are now a developer. Now go back, go to additional settings. From here, you should now see developer options. So go there and enable the toggle next to OEM unlocking as well as USB debugging. You will get a prompt on your phone. So check mark that you are aware of all the risk, and then you will have to wait for 10 seconds. Once the time frame has elapsed, just tap on OK. So after that, you might get one more prompt, which is the RSA key fingerprint. So again, tap on OK. So let's now verify the ADB debugging connection, or rather the USB debugging connection. So for that, go to the platform tools folder, type in CMD in the address bar and hit enter. This will launch the command prompt window inside the platform tools folder, as you could see. So type in ADB devices and hit enter. Make sure you are getting a serial ID. If you're not getting a serial ID, then unplug and replug your phone from the PC, disable and re-enable USB debugging, tap on revoke USB debugging, use the official USB cable that came with your phone, and use the USB 2.0 port on your PC. So carry out this USB tweaks and make sure you're getting a serial ID. Once you're getting this ID, you could now move on to next step. So next step, you now have to unlock the bootloader on your phone. Do keep in mind that doing so will wipe off all the data and it might nullify the warranty as well. So if that's well and good, then do check out our guide or the video. We have made a video as well, so you could refer to my guide or the video and unlock the bootloader. Once that is done, you should get something like this. So you should get a unlock successful message on the Me Unlock tool. Likewise, you should also go to your phone developer option, and within there go to Me Unlock status and make sure it's showing us this device is unlocked. Similarly, under OEM unlocking, it should also show as bootloader is already unlocked, as you could see in my phone. So once that you have unlocked the bootloader, next up you now have to download the EU ROM for your phone. So I have linked both the weekly and stable releases. It is recommended to go for the stable release. So click on the stable release link and you will be taken to this page. From here, go to the MIUI version 14, which is the Android 13 base. And now you'll have to choose the phone of your choice. So do keep in mind that the phone name is not given here. Rather, the code name of the phone is given here. To check out the name of the phone corresponding to the code name, you could go to my guide and then check out the image that I've shown you earlier. So from that image, you could see both the name of the phone as well as this is the name, this is the code name. You could verify from here. Make sure to download the same ROM which corresponds to the code name. In our case, we're using a Poco F4 and the code name is Munch. So we'll simply go here and use the Control F shortcut key, search for Munch and hit enter. You will get quite a lot of files with the same file name. So make sure to download the one which is the latest one. In our case, the latest one is this one. As you could see, there is one more file over here, but that's an older one. So we'll be downloading the latest file, which is of March release. So download it from here. Once you have done the download, you should place the file inside the platform tools folder. So as you could see in my case, this is the ROM file in the zip format and it's placed inside the platform tools folder. So now that is done, let's now move on to our next step. So just a minute, let's now browse quickly to the next step. So we'll now have to boot our phone to the fastboot mode. So for that, go to the platform tools folder, open CMD window inside there and type in ADB reboot bootloader and hit enter. Your phone should now boot to the fastboot mode. You could also use hardware key combination, but that varies depending on the type of phone. On the other hand, the ADB command is universal across all the Android phones. So irrespective of the phone you own, this command should boot your phone to the fastboot mode. So as you could see, our phone is now in the fastboot mode. So you should now execute the command of fastboot devices and make sure you're getting a serial ID. If you're not getting a serial ID, then you will have to install fastboot drivers. For that, you could refer to my guide or the video and make sure to install the fastboot drivers right away. So let me show you. This is the guide and the video, both are there. So you could either refer to a guide or a video and make sure to install the fastboot drivers right away. Once you have installed these drivers, make sure you're getting a serial ID next to the fastboot device. Likewise, use the Windows X shortcut key and select device manager. Then expand the Android phone section and make sure your phone is being shown as Android bootloader interface. So let me show you. If I expand the Android phone section, it's showing it as Android bootloader interface. So this plus the serial ID confirms that a PC is able to read our phone in the fastboot mode, and we could now move on to our next step. So next up, we'll now have to flash the recovery ROM, rather the recovery first. So as of now, we'll be using the TWRP recovery as the recommended recovery. So as you might be aware, there is no universal method to install this recovery. It depends on the ROM on your phone which you own. So every Redmi, Xiaomi and Poco phone have a different instruction. You could refer to my guide depending on your phone, or you could also have a look at the XGA forum, or you could officially also go to the official TWRP page and check out the instruction there. But generally, this is the method to install the recovery. Let me show you. If your phone has a recovery partition, so first and foremost, irrespective of the fact, you just have to download the recovery file and place it in the platform tools folder. If you have a zip file or an IMG file, that does not matter. Just download the recovery file and place it inside the platform tools folder. So in my case, the Poco F4 only has a IMG file. So if your phone has a zip file as well, then it means your phone has a recovery partition. In my case, Poco F4 does not have a recovery partition, so just have an IMG file. So I am telling you again, it's not a universal approach, but a generic method. You should verify first using my guide or the XGA forum or the official TWRP site, and then flash a ROM. So generally, if you have a zip file, then you could simply use the fastboot flash recovery and name of the files. Let's suppose twrp.zip, and this will flash the zip file onto your phone. On the other hand, if your phone does not have a recovery partition, which is the case with my phone Poco F4, so we'll first boot our phone using this IMG file and then permanently flash it as well. So let me show you how I'll be installing onto my phone. So for the ease of convenience, I'm simply renaming the file to TWRP. So the complete name becomes twrp.img. So once that is done, you just need to boot your phone using this recovery. For type in fastboot boot twrp.img, and our phone will now boot to the recovery mode for one-time usage. So it should take a few seconds, and it will first send the file to the boot partition, as you could see, and our phone should then boot to the recovery mode. And it should only take a few seconds. And as I'm telling you before, is for the Poco F4, you should verify the steps for your device. So from here, we will now make a permanent installation of the recovery file. For that, you could generally use two methods. Either use the advanced, then you could select the flash current TWRP and perform a right swipe. It will flash the recovery file. Or apart from that, you could also choose one more method. Let me show you. If the flash current option is not there, then select install recovery RAM disk, and then you will have to transfer this TWRP IMG file to your phone. And once you have transferred the file to your phone, simply select the IMG file from here and flash it. So you could either use the flash current recovery, or you could use the install recovery RAM disk. Likewise, you could also go to install and flash the TWRP zip file. That will also do the job. Once you have flashed the recovery, simply go to reboot and select recovery. This should boot our phone to the TWRP recovery, and with this, we have permanently installed the recovery file. So let's wait while the phone is booting up. So as you could see, our phone is now in the TWRP recovery, and with this, we have installed the recovery, and you can now move over to our next step. So now we have to perform a factory reset. Do keep in mind that this will wipe off all the data from your phone. So make sure you have taken a backup beforehand. Once that is done, go to wipe, then go to format data, type in yes, and hit enter. It will now format all the data on your phone, and once that is done, go back. And as of now, we do not have any file on our phone. So we'll now have to transfer the ROM zip file to our phone. For that, there exists 4 different methods, out of which you should use either the MTP or the ADB push command. So first of all, let me try the MTP method. For that, go to mount and make sure that the data partition is checked here and is showing as disable MTP. This signifies that the MTP has been enabled on our phone. So now go to your PC, and from here, make sure your phone is shown here. So go to your phone and internal storage. If you could access this, as you could see in my case, I could access this file. So I could directly use the MTP method to transfer the file. So let me copy the zip file It's a Xiaomi EU ROM, so simply copy it and paste it here. And while it's copying, in some cases you might not see your phone over here. So in such cases you will not be able to use the MTP. So in that case you have to open the CMD window and type in the command adb push name of the file. Let's suppose it's the EU ROM. Make sure to rename the file according to with the name of the file which is over here. For the ease of convenience, you could rename it to something shorter. So let's suppose the name of the file is ROM. So type in adb push rom.zip, then space / and SD card. This will also transfer the file to your internal storage on your phone. So you execute this command and the ROM file will then be sent over to your phone. Apart from that, you could also use a USB OTG device if you have, and transfer the ROM to the OTG cable. If you're using an OTG, then make sure that you have to check mark OTG in the mount section as well. Or the best method is using the MTP. Apart from MTP, you use the ADB push, but you should never use ADB sideload. This is because ADB sideload will end up flashing the ROM, which we do not want to happen now. We should always flash the ROM using the install section. You should never flash it using the ADB sideload. So anyway, let me show you the status. As of now, the ROM is being transferred. So regarding the transfer, I have also made a guide and a video on the same. You could refer to my guide as well as a video. So as you could see, it's the USB OTG method is the first one. The second one is the MTP, which is the recommended method. But if your phone is not being shown in the file explorer, as you could see, or if it's not shown here, then in that case, you could use the ADB push method. And for that, you just need to use the ADB push file name dot extension, which in our case was rom.zip, then space and SD card. And this will, as you could see, transfer the file to our phone. So as you could see, the name of the file was test, placed in the platform tools folder. Then we used the ADB push test.zip, and the file was then placed onto our phone. So you could also use this method apart from MTP, but I would recommend you not to use the ADB sideload because it will end up flashing the ROM, which we do not want to happen. I have also given the risk over here. So unless it's specified by the developer, you should never use the ADB sideload. So it only use the mount or the ADB mount command, or use the ADB push command. Or if you have a hardware OTG, then you could use the OTG as well. Anyways, let's now verify the status. So currently the transfer is complete. So let me just verify the same. So as you could see, the file has now been transferred onto a phone, 4.15 GB. Just a minute, let me verify the same. And over here as well, it's 4.15 GB. So with this, we have transferred the ROM and we could now flash the ROM onto our phone using the recovery. So the flashing is simple. Just go to the install section. So let me unlock my phone and go to install. Then select the Xiaomi EU ROM zip file and perform a write up to flash. The flashing will now begin and it could take up a few minutes. So let's wait while that is happening. It also have the firmware, so it will flash the firmware as well. And then it will flash all the partition one by one. The process usually takes up to a few minutes. So let's wait while that is happening. And once that is done, we will then boot our phone to the OS. And as I told you before, the process usually wipes up all the data. So make sure you have taken a backup beforehand. And once we have done the flashing via the recovery method, I'll also show you how to flash via the Fastboot method. This method is a shorter and easier of the two. So please do check out this method as well. But for the time being, let's flash the recovery method. So as you could see, the flashing has now completed. And once that is done, you could simply wipe the dynamic cache if you want. It's optional but recommended. Once that is done, you could now reboot a phone to the system. For that, just tap on reboot system and your phone should now boot to the newly flashed Xiaomi EU ROM. Do keep in mind that the first boot up could take up a few additional minutes. That's completely normal because we have just flashed a new ROM and a new OS has been installed. Although it's based on MIUI, but there are quite a few customizations that are not there on the stock ecosystem. So that is why for the first time boot up, it might take a few additional minutes. So you should not interact with your phone while it's going on and simply leave it in that stage. And our phone should now boot in the OS. So you could see that it's stuck on the Poco animation. That's completely normal. It's just for the first time. From the subsequent boot up, it will not take that much time. So let's wait for the time frame and it should now boot to the newly flashed Xiaomi EU ROM. You could also refer to my guide if you are stuck anywhere. I have given the link of this guide in the description of this video, so you could go to my video description and refer to this guide as and when you want. Anyways, as you could see, our phone is now booting up and we are now in the boot animation. So as I've told you before, the first boot up usually takes a few additional minutes. After that, we have to, I'll currently not sign up my phone. I will just skip the initial setup and go to the OS and show you the screen and the menus. I'll not restore the data. But if you want to restore the data, you should do it at this stage itself. It's the most safest approach. You should not restore the data after booting to the OS. It's better to restore it right away. But currently, I'll not be restoring any data because I am just using it for the testing purpose, and I'll then show you the UI, UX, and some other features of this ROM. So as you could see, our phone has now booted, and this is running the latest Xiaomi EU ROM based on Android 13, MIUI 14. And so currently, let me show you, this is the settings menu from here, and you could check out the result and the features as well. So this is the settings menu, and from here, as you could see, on the My Device section showing as the Xiaomi EU ROM. It's based on the MIUI version 14, and it's the Android 13 version. You could check out the Android version from here, from the info section, and you could see it's the Android 13 over here. So just a minute, I always like to do this. So this is the Android 13. Anyways, going back, so apart from that, you could also verify rest of the features and sections of from here and check out the rest of the details. So guys, on that note, I round up this video for the first section, that is how to install the ROM using the recovery method. Let's now show you how to install this ROM using the fastboot method. So for that, please take a backup. I am not going to flash the stock ROM once again. I'll simply carry out from here itself. Anyways, you should be on the stock ROM or any ROM of your choice. That should not matter. Just make sure to take a backup beforehand. Once that is done, I am starting from scratch, so that's not an issue. Do keep in mind that for the fastboot ROM, only those phones which are hybrid in nature should use this method. If your phone only has recovery, then you should not use this method. So just to reconfirm, you should verify from here. And if your phone is hybrid, then only you could use this method. On the other hand, if your phone is showing as a recovery, then you should not use the fastboot method. In my case, I'm using a Poco F4, so I could easily flash the ROM because it's hybrid in nature. So as you could see from here, it's the Munch code name, and I could flash using the fastboot command as well because it's hybrid in nature. If your phone is not hybrid, then you should only stick with recovery ROM and not the fastboot. But since our phone is hybrid, so we should now proceed ahead with the fastboot ROM as well. So in that, first and foremost, take a backup of all the data because it will wipe off data from your phone. Once that is done, you'll have to install Android SDK platform tools. This is the official ADB binary given by Google, and it's required to execute ADB command. So download it from the link given in my guide, and then you have to extract it onto your PC. You could do the extraction anywhere you want. In my case, I have done the extraction on E drive. So let me show you. So here's the extraction. You could extract them anywhere you want onto your PC. Once you have done the extraction, you have to enable USB debugging and OEM unlocking. USB debugging is required to execute ADB command, whereas OEM unlocking is required to unlock the bootloader on your phone. So let's now carry out both these tasks. For that, go to the settings menu, then go to MIUI version, and you have to tap on MIUI version 7 times. You will now get a prompt that, okay, just a minute. So you will now have to go to info. So currently, since I'm using a Xiaomi EU ROM, the screen might be a little bit different. In your case, you just have to tap on MIUI version 7 times, and it will enable developer option. Once that is done, you then have to go to additional settings, and from there you should now see developer option. So go there and enable the toggle next to OEM unlocking as well as USB debugging. So once that is done, you'll now have to verify the debugging connection. So open CMD window inside platform tools folder. So let's open a new CMD window and carry out the steps once again. So open CMD window in the platform tools folder, and then you have to type in ADB devices and verify that you are getting a serial ID. If you're not getting a serial ID, then you will have to unplug and replug your phone from the PC, disable and re-enable USB debugging, tap on revoke USB debugging authorization, use the official USB cable that came with your phone, and use the USB 2.0 port on your PC. So carry out this USB tweaks and make sure you're getting a serial ID. Once you're getting this ID, you could now move to the next step. So next step, you now have to unlock the bootloader on your phone. For that, you could refer to my video as well as the guide on how to carry out this task. Once you have done so, the Mi Unlock tool should show something like this: unlock successfully. And with this, the unlock is successful. You could also verify the same from the Mi Unlock status. So it should be there on your phone. Since I'm using the EU ROM, it's not there on my phone, but it should be there onto your phone. So make sure to verify the same from the Mi Unlock status as well. And once that is done, once you have unlocked the bootloader, you should now move to the next step. So next step, you now have to grab hold of the ROM from the link given here. So just go to the official site, and from my link, you should be taken to this page. From here, select MIUI version 14, which is based on Android 13. And now you have to search using the device code name. There are no device name, it's just a code name given here. So you could refer to my guide, and from the guide, check out this image, and from the image, you could get hold of the code name. For example, this is the phone name and this is the code name. So in my case, I'm using the Poco F4. So as you could see, my name is, the code name is Munch. Accordingly, make sure to search for your code name and then go to this page. use Control F and type in the code word. For example, in my case, it's a munch, and make sure to download the latest build. As you could see, there are two builds for my ROM. The first one is for the this one, and the next one is lower down, and this is the older one. So make sure to download the latest build. So grab hold from here, and it should be in a zip format. So download it, and then once you have downloaded the ROM, it should look something like this. So let me show you. So let's go to the downloads folder, and the ROM should be initially in the zip format. So this is the ROM zip, as you could see, Xiaomi EU ROM. Make sure to extract this ROM. You could extract it anywhere you want, and once you have done the extraction, you should get the following files. So as you could see, these are all the files that we'll be using. It's for the Xiaomi Fastboot ROM. So download the ROM, extract the zip file, and you should get the following files. Once that is done, you'll now have to boot your phone to the Fastboot mode. So let me just verify the same as well. So let's now boot our phone to the Fastboot mode. So for that, open CMD window inside platform tools folder and type in ADB reboot bootloader. Your phone should now boot to the Fastboot mode, and it should only take a few seconds. So let's wait while that is happening. You could also use the hardware key combination, but that's not universally accepted across all the phones. Whereas in case of ADB command, it's universally applicable across all the Xiaomi, Redmi, and Poco phones. So we always use this command itself. So once you're now in the Fastboot mode, type in Fastboot devices and hit enter. Make sure you're getting a serial ID. If you're not getting a serial ID, then you'll have to install Fastboot drivers. For that, I made a video as well as a guide on how to install the Fastboot drivers. Make sure to carry out this task, and once you have done so, you should get a serial ID next to Fastboot devices. As you could see here. Likewise, open the device manager using the Windows X shortcut key and choose device manager. Now expand the Android phone section, and under Android phone, your phone should be listed as Android bootloader interface, as you could see in my case. So this plus the device ID and the Fastboot signifies that your phone is now in the Fastboot mode, and you could now move on to the next step. So now that we are booted to the Fastboot mode, we could now flash the ROM. So for that, you have to go to the folder where you have extracted the Fastboot ROM and simply use the flash first install with data format file. So let's go to the ROM file. So here's the extracted Fastboot ROM. Do keep in mind that flashing this will wipe off all the data from your phone. So make sure you have taken a backup beforehand. So since we are on the Windows platform and we are installing this ROM for the first time, so if you're coming from any other ROM, whether it's the MIUI ROM or any other AOSP custom ROM, or you're installing this ROM for the first time, then you'll have to use the Windows Fastboot first install with data format. On the other hand, if you're simply doing a normal update of the same ROM, then you could use this file. But since we're coming from the stock MIUI ROM or any other custom ROM, you have to use this file. So double click to open it, and it will now start the flashing on its own. You don't have to do anything. You might get a prompt on your PC, so click on more info and then click on run anyway. The process will now start. So let's wait for the time frame. You will get a prompt on your phone that it will remove all the data from your phone. So just type in Y and hit enter, and it will now start the flashing process, and the flashing could take up a few minutes. So let's wait while that is happening. At the time of in the first method which I shown, which was flashing via the recovery, was the recovery TWRP method. That was a fairly quick method, and it only took around 10 to 15 seconds. So let me see how long does it take for this method. So but the good thing with TWRP is that it's supported across both the phones, across the hybrid as well as the recovery method as well. But in case of Fastboot, it's only supported on the hybrid ROM. It's not supported on the recovery phones. So but there are a drawback as well. So in case of the recovery method, the drawback is you need to have a TWRP recovery beforehand, and you have to install the recovery as well. Whereas in case of Fastboot method, the drawback is that it is usually a lengthier approach than as compared to the TWRP method. But on the flip side, the good thing is that you don't need to have any recovery installed. It's just a generic Fastboot command that you could execute or flash it as well. So this is the benefit of Fastboot ROM. But on the flip side, as you might be knowing, the Fastboot ROM is only applicable for the hybrid phones. Fortunately, there are quite a lot of phones which are hybrid. So just to verify, let me show you once the image once again. So as you can see, there are only a few ROMs that are recovery in nature. So this is the Redmi K40, K40 Pro Plus, Mi 11i, and the Poco F4 GT, Redmi K50G. So make sure to verify the device name completely. For example, the Poco F4 GT and the Poco F4 are two completely phones. The Poco F4 GT is for Ingress, and the Poco F4 is for the Munch. So make sure to check out the complete details of the code name and then download the ROM accordingly. So as you could see, most of the ROMs are hybrid. So you could use both these methods. So if your ROM is if your phone is hybrid as well, but if you don't have a recovery file, then you could easily use the fastboot method. And if your ROM is hybrid and you have a recovery, then you could try out the TWRP method as well, because it's generally easy to carry out and it's quite faster as well. But it's quite lengthy, as you might be aware. On the other hand, when it's come to the fastboot ROM, the fastboot ROM is only supported by the hybrid phones. Fortunately, there are quite a lot of hybrid phones. But on the flip side, and the one more benefit of the fastboot ROM is the fact that you do not require any custom recovery. You just need to access the fastboot mode and easily get this job done. Moreover, in case your phone is currently in a soft break or a bootloop state, then the recovery ROM might not work because you might not be able to flash the TWRP recovery. On the other hand, you could easily flash this ROM if your phone is in a soft break or a bootloop state, because in such a bootloop or soft break state, fastboot mode is still accessible and you could easily flash the ROM. So if you don't want to use the MIUI flash tool to flash the stock fastboot ROM, then you could also use the Xiaomi EU ROM and get your device up and running. Anyways, let's now check out the results. So as of now, it's currently super image. So do keep in mind that the super IMG is the biggest file of the lot and it will take the maximum amount of time. The rest of the file are usually shorter, and as I could see that it has broken down the super IMG into smaller partition file. Generally it's a single super IMG file, but it has broken down into smaller partition. That's not a cause of concern, and as I was telling you, the super takes the maximum amount of time. Rest all the partition files are usually shorter, and you should not interact with your phone while the flashing is going on. So let's wait for the time frame. The flashing could take up to few additional minutes. So as I was telling you, in case of the recovery method, the flashing only takes around 10 to 15 seconds at the very max. But as you could see in the fastboot method, it's taking around up to 5 to 10 minutes. So it's usually a lengthier approach. So you have to wait for the time frame. Anyways, I have shown you both the methods and you could try out any one of your choice. Likewise, I've also linked the entire guide in the video description. You could refer to my guide any time you want. And if you have any queries, you could also drop it in the comment section. I will get back to you with a solution at the earliest. And you could refer to this image as well as when required and download the ROM from here. As I told you before, the link for the ROM will take you to this page. From here, you have to go to MIUI 14, which is the Android 13 base. And from here, just search for the device code name. The phone name is not listed here. It's only shown by the code name. So you could refer to the code name from this image and just use the Control F to search for the code name and make sure to download the latest one which has just been released. So in my case, this was the latest build, so downloaded it and then you could flash it using the flash first install with data format. This will remove all the data, and this is required if you're coming from any other custom ROM, or if you're coming from the stock MIUI ROM as well, you have to use this file. Or if you are currently on the same version, if you're currently on the Xiaomi EU ROM itself and you just want to install a monthly OTA update, then you could use this method as well. This method will not wipe off data and it's only recommended if you're currently on a Xiaomi EU ROM and you want to install monthly updates. So let me show the process. So currently it's once again only flashing the super IMG file, so it has broken down the partition file into smaller partitions. So let's wait while the flashing is going on. So as you could see, the flashing has now been completed and it will automatically close the CMD window. You don't have to carry out any manual intervention from your end. And as soon as the CMD window closes, your phone should now boot to the OS. Do keep in mind that the first boot up could take up a few additional minutes. That is completely normal and nothing to worry about. This is because we have just flashed a new custom ROM. Whether you call it a custom ROM or not, it's actually a custom ROM because it's somewhat deviating from the stock MIUI ecosystem. While the base is MIUI, but it has elements of a custom ROM as well. So since we are flashing this ROM for the first time, the first boot up could take a few additional seconds and it might get stuck at the Poco logo for up to a minute. So that's completely normal, and once that is done, you should be greeted with the MIUI boot animation, and after that you could then set up your phone from scratch, restore the data and get going. So I currently not set up my phone. I will show you the OS status. So let's wait while we are about to access the OS. And as I was telling you, your phone might get stuck at the animation as well. It's only for the first time. From the subsequent boot up, it will not take that much time, so you don't have to worry about the boot lag or anything like that. For the first time boot animation only, it's taking that much time. So let's wait while that is happening, and then I'll show you the OS state. So as I was telling you, if you're coming from any other ROM, you have to use the data format file. If you're currently on the Xiaomi EU ROM itself and you just want to install monthly OTA updates, then you could use the Windows Fastboot Update ROM. And if you're on the Linux architecture OS, then you should use the Linux file. The same case goes with Linux and Mac as well. If you're on any other ROM and on Linux, then you have to use this file. If you're on any other ROM and on Mac, then use this file. Or if you just want to do a update from the same ROM, then you should use simply the Fastboot update file for the Mac and Linux OS. So the rule is applicable same across all the OS. That does not matter. And as you could see, my phone is currently in the MIUI logo, so that's completely normal, nothing to worry about. The first boot up could take a few additional seconds, and so we'll have to wait for the time frame. So as I have noticed, the flashing was really fast via the TWRP method. So if you have a recovery in hand, then I'll recommend you to try out with the TWRP method itself. But if you cannot access the recovery, then you could go ahead with the fastboot method. Anyways, we are now in the fastboot mode, and I'll now have to activate my phone, so I'll just be back in a minute. So my phone is activated, and let's now proceed ahead. So for the initial boot up, I'll be skipping with the initial setup screen. So I'll simply carry out this task quickly and then show you the boot up page. So let's accept the terms and condition and skip the SIM check as well. So skip this as well, and our phone should now boot to the OS, and it should only take a few seconds. So let's wait while that is happening. So let me skip this process as well. So the first initial setup screen could take a few additional minutes, and you have to be patient while that is going on. Currently, I'm skipping the data restore as well. You should not skip this. You should, if you want, you could do so right away itself. So let me skip this as well and carry out the rest of the task. So let me select full screen gesture, and so let me skip select button and simply skip here as well. So with this, the setup is now complete, and as you could see, we are now in the Xiaomi EU ROM, and these are some of the features of this ROM. So apart from that, let me go to the settings menu, and if I go to the my device section, you could verify from where currently I'm on the Xiaomi EU ROM based on MIUI 14, which means it's on the Android 13. Let me show you once again. So this is the Android 13 version, and as goes the traditional, let me just make it 13. And so you could see I'm currently on the Android 13, and you could check out the rest of the features of the ROM from here and carry out the tweaks as you want. So guys, on that note, I round up this video. I have shown you both the methods on how to flash the Xiaomi EU ROM, that is using the fastboot ROM and the recovery ROM. If your phone is hybrid, then you could use both these methods. On the other hand, if your phone is simply recovery, then you only have to use the recovery ROM. So with that said, I round up this video. If you have any queries, do let me know in the comment section. And guys, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more tips and tricks. Thanks a lot for watching.